From the campus of the University of Kentucky, you're listening to Behind the Blue. I'm Cody Kaiser with UK Strategic Communications.
At the University of Kentucky, what we like to say is, safety is a shared responsibility. So everybody should have ownership in it, from you as an individual to our community, as well as the police department. So we want everybody to be ready for everything. When you start looking at what is our goal, our goal is to create a safe and secure environment for the University of Kentucky, for our faculty to staff to work in, but also our students to learn in. And part of that mission is to make sure that we are preparing for that next crisis that could occur.
That's University of Kentucky Police Chief Joe Monroe. Over his nearly 32 years with UKPD, Monroe has watched the department evolve from a small campus police force into one of the largest law enforcement agencies in Kentucky, serving what he calls a city within a city. Today, his team's mission extends far beyond patrols and parking enforcement, encompassing everything from crisis management and emergency planning to healthcare security and cutting-edge technology like drones and a network of more than 5,000 cameras across campus. On this episode of Behind the Blue, Chief Monroe talks about the department's growth and modernization, the philosophy of safety as a shared community responsibility, and the partnerships and technologies that help protect and prepare the university every day. Chief Joe Monroe, thanks so much for being on Behind the Blue.
I appreciate you having me on.
I want to talk a little bit about your kind of background so people know if they're listening to this and they're unaware. You've been part of the UK Police Department for many years, and you've seen this campus grow and change. Talk a little bit about your journey with UK Police and kind of how you ended up being here and being in the position that you're in. And then what continues your drive, this commitment to this university community?
Yeah, so that journey started a long time ago. I started my employment at the University of Kentucky April 4th, 1994. And so I'm going on almost 32 years. And through that journey, starting as a patrol officer, working my way up to a supervisor on patrol, to a detective, back to patrol as another supervisor, and then on up to major, and then the only chief they've ever hired from within the department. Now I've been chief going on, almost 18 years, I believe. So it's been a long time. It's been a great journey. And the thing is, I'm not done. So when I set out as the interim chief for that period before I became chief, I had a lot of ideas I wanted to see us move towards and start that transition. And so really I focused a lot on that along the journey. And with that, I hit a lot of those milestones. But then I developed more as I was going along that journey. So what keeps me going, after 31 and a half years, almost 32 years, is I still feel like I got unfinished business. And I want to take the department even higher than it is now, becoming more and more professional, more and more technology advanced. So all this stuff that we've integrated now into our police department, we want to continue to build upon for the next decade.
I've heard people say before that the UK Police Department is, as big or bigger than a lot of other agencies in the state. I mean, bigger than a lot of communities, most communities that have a police department. The community that this police department serves is very unique in that it, for the most part, is in a specific age range. The population is one that I think it's also kind of unique in a sense because it swells at times and then shrinks at times. And so it's a very interesting dynamic in that it's constantly morphing and changing. How do you feel like the role of a campus police department and campus policing has evolved since you first joined the department until now?
Well, we've evolved a lot. And you brought up the fact that we are one of the larger departments in the state of Kentucky. We're probably in the top 10, if not the top 6 or 7. Size-wise, we are continually growing as the university grows. And so with that, we've seen a transition from, 32, 34 officers back when I first started to now we're pushing almost 90 officers and anticipate being well over 100 here in the coming years. With that, we've taken on different responsibilities because we have a different population here. And you stop and think we're almost at 40,000 students now, or probably will be here in the next year. So with that, you've got your staff, you've got your faculty, and then the unique piece for us is we also have healthcare. And so with that, it's not unusual for us to have a daytime population while school's in session somewhere in that 80 to 100,000 population range during the day. So it's a fairly large city, the university is. It's basically what we call a city within a city. And so we've had to really take on a lot of responsibility, everything from our security technology group to our ID operations, where we're producing the wildcard ID now, to really unify and having one card for everything you may need, from food to library to access control. And then we have crisis management. That's probably one of our most active groups besides our security technology group. Is they are constantly preparing us for that next disaster that may occur. So they're doing training, they're doing preparations. They're in the process right now of planning a live scale exercise that's going to have almost 300 participants this fall. So it really is going to allow us to stress test our operations, but also those of our partners. So the federal authorities, the local authorities, they will all be part of this exercise. And it's going to be a good opportunity for us all to test what we say we can do. And then we have, of course, healthcare police now and campus police. The footprint has grown. It's not just in Lexington anymore. We have, facilities in Moorhead and Ashland that we have to take care of as well. So our department has really transitioned and grown a lot.
I think about crisis management and how that has grown and developed over the years to the point where it is. When I first came here in 2011, I think there was some crisis management in public relations and marketing and strategic comms that we talked about, but that has really grown into such a big component. And I think it's interesting when you can look at the things that we do training wise, just in my own department, when we go through crisis training type scenarios and the broad range of things, whether it's weather related or whatever it's related to. And then you watch the news, or you read the paper or read a website or something, some news thing where something happens somewhere, and you really can start to kind of see places that have really prepared well, and maybe some places that really could have used some help in that. And so I think a lot of times, sometimes people look at that and they think, well, why do places go through all of this that's so over the top, this crisis training? But it really is one of those things that you'd rather do it and never have to use it than be in a situation where you suddenly are in that spot and you don't have the resources in place.
Yeah, I think it's, when you start looking at what is our goal, our goal is to create a safe and secure environment for the University of Kentucky, for our faculty to staff to work in, but also our students to learn in. And part of that mission is to make sure that we are preparing for that next crisis that could occur. So we always are taking a look at different crises that have occurred, whether it's on a college campus or in a city, and seeing what we can learn from it. So the next day after something happens, we'll huddle up. Hey, what can we learn? What can we do different in our implementation of our operations plans? The Charlie Kirk shooting was a perfect example of next morning we're in there and we're strategizing. Hey, would we have done this? Would we have done this differently? What can we do differently moving forward to make sure that doesn't happen here? And really thinking about how do we keep people at our events safe as well? Because you look at football and basketball, some of these large events, they're bringing additional, 50 or 60,000 people to our campus.
I want to talk about some recent safety implementations that we've put in place here on campus. I specifically want to kind of start talking about maybe the Wildcat Ready campaign and what the vision was behind that effort, and what Wildcat Ready means for our students and faculty and staff.
Well, at the University of Kentucky, what we like to say is, safety is a shared responsibility. So everybody should have ownership in it, from you as an individual to our community, as well as the police department. So we want everybody to be ready for everything. With that, we've rolled out what we call our Safe Zone app. And that's part of our Wildcat Ready initiative. This app is an app that will allow you to send tips to the police department, send pictures to the police department if something's occurring. You can anonymously send a tip to us. It also allows to have the Safe Walk feature that we've always had. These type of things are really allowing us to have better tools and technology to keep our community safe.
In addition to the app, what are some resources or programs that you think every member of the UK community should know about and kind of keep in the back of their head? And, this goes for people who've worked here for years and years, or people who have been students for several years, but also new hires, new students who are coming in. What are some things that maybe people should be aware of?
Well, probably one of the things is as I said, safety is a shared responsibility. But we provide training out there. We will come to your department or your area and teach you what we would expect from you in an active shooter or active aggressor situation. We preach the run, hide, fight. If you can get out of that situation at all costs, that's the first thing we recommend. Second thing is, if you can't get out, maybe you should hide. Turn your cell phones off, go to silent, those type of things. Really being able to make yourself as quiet as possible and hidden. The third piece of that is, and as a last resort, you may have to fight back. You may have to take a fire extinguisher or some chair or something and really fight that aggressor until police can respond.
When we talk about shared responsibility and how everyone plays a part in that, it's not just limited to our campus community, but also to our partnership between the city of Lexington. Talk a little bit about that collaboration and how that has kind of grown and changed over the years.
Yeah, Chief Weathers, the chief of Lexington Police, and I have a very close working relationship. We've been friends for well over 30 years. And we talk almost on a weekly basis. We share ideas, we share concerns, and then we work together strategically to see, hey, can we put more officers? I'll commit this amount of officers to this area, or this initiative to this area. Can you do that? And so we work back and forth on that. A while back, we had the issue here on North Campus with Kane's parking lot had the shooting, and that affected some of our students who were in the area. That affected our buildings that were caught in a crossfire. So we immediately spun up, what kind of safety initiatives can we take? We said we got better lighting, more cameras, more officers, and so we worked with the city of Lexington to really see what we could do to make that area safer. So now at nights, you see a lot more officers in that area. We dropped a police substation that we share with Lexington in the Good Samaritan Courtyard. So that puts us more front and center into that bar district from Lexington Police as well as UK Police.
I was going to ask about that for people who may be fuzzy on that. When you're on campus and you're in a building on campus, obviously your mind goes immediately to, well, if I needed a response from somebody, UK Police would be the call that I would make, or I would call 911 and it would, however that system works would route me to that. But in those fringe areas, in the restaurants and bars, in some of the residential areas on the edges of campus, or in those buildings that are right up on the fringe, edge of campus, how does that work as far as, I guess maybe to give people a better understanding of like who responds to a call whenever that comes in those areas? Is it UK Police? Is it Lexington Police? Do they both respond? Like how does that kind of unfurl?
Yeah, so that's a tricky area, because the university has jurisdiction anywhere that the university owns, occupies, or leases property in the state of Kentucky. And it's all the streets adjacent to. So we have jurisdiction all the way up to the private property line, say on Limestone, on the west side of Limestone. So we typically do not respond into bars or any of that unless we're working a joint operation with the city or maybe the ABC office to address, alcohol violations. So our primary jurisdiction is that campus area. Do we get calls about things that occur off campus? Yes. And what we'll do is we'll contact Lexington Police, transfer the call to Lexington Police, just as they'll transfer campus calls to us. And then typically we'll work together, and if they don't have somebody available, we'll respond until they can get somebody available. So it's that need for that close collaboration and coordination. And so that takes a lot of relationship building. And that's where we are right now with Lexington Police. We have a very good working relationship.
When we talk about shared responsibility, taking an active role in your own safety when you're on campus, we talk about the Safe Zone app. What about other things like participating in those trainings like STAR or Green Dot? Talk a little bit about those.
Yeah, so STAR is our self-defense program that we offer on our campus to really help, one, identify those dangerous situations, two, how do you maintain that situational awareness, and then three, when it comes time to fight back, that we teach you the techniques on what to do, how to fight back, regardless of the size of somebody. Green Dot's another program that originated here at the university with Dr. Dorothy Edwards many years ago. So we are a big participant in that with the VIP Center. And Lindsay Dodgen, we're very another close relationship we have on campus. Making sure that we are taking care of those survivors of interpersonal violence by getting them resources either through VIP or through the UK Police Special Victims Unit and our victim advocate. With that Green Dot program, it deals a lot more with bystander intervention. So it helps people get trained on if they're out somewhere and they see somebody that maybe not with friends that are putting themselves in a dangerous situation, they can kind of be that extra eyes and ears and friend for them for the night to get them to a safe location.
We talked about the app, and technology in general really changes not just the way the community interacts with itself, but also how police departments operate. Talk about some new tools and innovations that UK Police have been using or are looking to start implementing in order to continue to keep campus safe and informed. And we've talked about the app, but you've also mentioned drones. I'm sure there are other things that are kind of always looking for new resources and new pieces of technology to implement there.
Yeah, so technology is the wave of the future with law enforcement. You're seeing more and more progressive departments across the country starting to embrace the technology, whether it's cameras, license plate readers, the drones, or now the newest thing is drone as a first responder. All of those we're doing. So we took the drone program that we had with just a remote pilot, being able to launch a drone remotely and see different video and capture it for us, to now where we can auto launch drones from our new Security Operations Center, and that drone will be producing video back to our Security Operations Center live, as well as we can push it out to our computers in our cars or our phones, tablets, whatever. So it's really the integration now of taking our body cameras that we've had for decades. We were the second department in the state of Kentucky to go to body cams. And with that, now our body cams, when the officer activates their body cam, it can go live in our Security Operations Center. They can hear and see exactly what that officer is responding to. The license plate reader, if we know of somebody that is a known offender or may have a domestic violence order against one of our employees or students, and we have that license plate, we're able to know when the minute they hit campus with that system, the flock system. With our cameras, now we're over 5,000 cameras on this campus, so it really allows us to have a good real-time situational awareness of what's going on, as well as investigations. We use a platform called Fusus, and Fusus kind of integrates all these different things into one platform on our video wall and on our SOC. The drone as a first responder is probably the most exciting thing. We're the first ones in the state to be doing that. It originated in California, And this drone pilot sits next to a communications officer in our SOC. They get the coordinates or the location for this priority call. They can activate that drone. They'll auto launch from the rooftop of our headquarters or another location here on campus, and really allow that drone to take off and be anywhere within 90 seconds on this campus. And then we also have tethered drones that we can leave up for an extended period of time. Basically, we can launch those up to 200 feet on a tethered fiber optic line, so they're having real-time video and power indefinitely. And that helps us a lot when we have areas of high crime or we have special events. We can put those drones up and have them for an extended period of time, really shooting that video back to our operations center.
Benefits are one side of this. I know that there are probably also members of the campus community or members of the larger community who look at some of this stuff and do have concerns about privacy, things that come up all the time in conversations I'm sure that you are aware of. How does the department address those things, and kind of where does all that shake out?
So, privacy and surveillance, is what some people call it, is a term I don't like. But privacy is important. And with that, we do not put cameras in any private spaces. Everything's in a public space. So these 5,000 cameras that are on campus are in public areas. So it's no different than you walking down the street and one of the street cameras in Lexington capturing. We just have more of them to make sure that we're protecting our community. The drone, the same thing. We're not using that drone to go into somebody's backyard or anything like that looking for it. These drones are responding to calls for service.
Let's talk a little bit about another side of crime prevention, and that is it kind of tied into awareness, and that's the reporting aspect of it. I know that UK Police makes a great effort to put those crime bulletins out. They go out through email, and I know that there is a difference between certain types of messaging that goes out. I don't know that a lot of people listening may know what the differences are in that, and sometimes they see things and they may not know what category. So when we talk about things like a UK alert versus a crime bulletin, or just something that goes into a crime log, talk about those differences, and then why is there a difference in those methods or places of reporting?
That is a great question. So one of the things you have to understand is there's called the Gene Cleary Act. It's a federal legislation that requires universities that if they have reports of certain crimes occurring on their campus, regardless if no police report is made, that has to be listed in what's called our annual crime log or security report. So we really take that seriously and make sure that if what we call CSA, which is a campus security authority, that's somebody that could be anybody that is from an instructor to a residence life person. If they are notified of a crime occurring that meets that Cleary Act reporting line, they have to complete a report that's sent to the Cleary office. The Cleary office is housed in UK Police. So with that, our Cleary team looks at that and says, yes, this is a Cleary crime. It has to go onto our annual security report as well as onto our daily crime log. And that daily crime log is posted on our website, as well as we keep a printed copy in our lobby of our department. And that's all required by federal legislation. So with that, the differences are you have a crime bulletin, which is something that we call a timely warning. And something has occurred, and we want to make sure that we're letting the campus community know, hey, this occurred in this area at this time, and here's the information that we can share. So that's a crime bulletin. A police report is something that can be somebody comes and tells us, hey, this crime occurred to me. We take that information, start an investigation. A CSA report or campus security report is done differently than a police report. And that is something that can be, like I said, Res Life may have something that happened in a residence hall they heard of, or it occurred off campus, but they still have to report it. And then that takes you to a UK alert. A UK alert is something that we only issue when an immediate action is required. So if a shooting occurs, or if severe weather, tornadoes, is a warning that we're in the line to be of concern for a tornado or some type of severe weather. All those go out as a UK alert because they require action. So that's what we like to tell people. A UK alert means that you've got to do something in response to this emergency that is occurring.
Over the years, you're working with the community here on campus, and specifically in your role as chief. What are some, I guess, what is some constructive feedback that you've gotten over the years from the community that, I mean, I'm sure that there's been criticism, but also a lot of constructive concerns that you've gotten from people that you feel like has been implemented into the methods and the approaches that the department takes?
You know, you bring up criticisms, and those are to be expected. But, you know, it's how you respond to those criticisms. Do you take them personally, or do you learn from it and say, hey, yeah, this is a valid point we need to address? And so one of the things we kept hearing over the last year is they want parents and students and staff want more transparency. They want more communication coming out. So we tend to over-communicate. So one of the things I established was with the media. I do a monthly press briefing every month, and really making sure we're sharing information, keeping that two-way line of communication going. We're doing more and more things now to really open that door and share information and be transparent as possible with our community. And I think that's one of the things that helps you earn trust is by being transparency, because you can't have trust without having transparency first.
This department has grown, as we talked about earlier, over the years. What's the attraction? What's the draw as someone who wants to go into law enforcement or campus safety and security? And I guess maybe I want to give you an opportunity to maybe brag about your department and talk about what the makeup of these people are. What is it that draws them to this?
Yeah, so I don't like to brag, but since you asked, I say I have the best team in the world. That's another thing that motivates me every day is the people I work with, the culture that we have developed. We have developed a culture within our department, all different areas within our department that, you know, we're one unit. We have one mission to accomplish, and we do it together, just like a family does. You know, you may have some infighting or disagreements, but we all know what the end result is we're trying to do. And you have that because you're passionate about that mission. And our mission, as I said before, is making sure we promote that safe and secure environment for all our constituents at the University of Kentucky, even our visitors. So with that, I have, like I said, almost 90 officers now that have come from different areas of the state, different departments of the state. Some of them are brand new officers, never had experience. Put them through the academy process, train those. We've only lost 2 officers in the last 2 years, which is unheard of for law enforcement right now. With that, we seem to attract a lot of other laterals, as we call them, from other departments. Part of that's our pay. Part of that is the benefit package. Now we have a brand new building that's state-of-the-art. That's another draw for us as a recruiting tool. And this team has really excelled to the point where it makes my job easier as the coach or the leader of the team to really make sure that we're hitting our goals and our metrics. I mean, I love everybody that works for me, and I tell them that all the time. Hey, I appreciate you. I love you. You know, it's that whole family culture of making sure, hey, we're in this together.
As far as the student population goes, are there opportunities for students to get involved with the department, and kind of how does that work out?
Yeah, so we have what we call our Citizens Police Academy, which allows anybody from the community to come and kind of do an immersive program throughout the semester. It's one night a week. It's a great tool for us to look at different people who may be prospects that are interested in the police department. But one of the things we started a couple of years ago was an intern program. And so now we give students an opportunity to come and intern within any of our areas within the police department. So that is another great tool to get, you know, recruiting in as well. And then, you know, we are always open. So, you know, we just held an open house yesterday, and it allows people from the community to come just engage with our department, really see what we're about, behind the scenes, so to speak. But students is an area that we like because we have three team members that are actually teaching courses here at the University of Kentucky. And so we see a lot of their students start migrating towards us either for job opportunities or for internships. So it's a great tool, and I push our team to do those type of things because it gets us out in the community and really draws in more people to that culture.
Speaking of students, before we wrap up, we reached out to students, invited them to share some questions that they wanted to ask you directly, and I've got a few of those right here. One of them being, students often ask about safety when walking at night. What general advice do you have for navigating campus safely after dark?
So that is a question that's asked a lot. One of them is, if at all possible, travel with a buddy or a friend. Or you can use the safe zone escort feature. Always walk in well-lit areas. Try to be aware of your surroundings. If you see something that just doesn't seem right, looks kind of concerning, maybe cross the street or you go into a building until that situation passes. Contact UK Police. If there is something that doesn't feel right, it's probably not right. So go ahead and contact us and let us send an officer to take care of that situation.
Some of this may be similar, but some students are new to Lexington or living off campus for the first time. And we talked about that relationship with Lexington Police. What should they know about staying safe in the city and understanding their surroundings? And I know there's probably some parallels between those.
Yeah, so with students who live off campus or never been to a city of the size of Lexington before, it can be a little overwhelming. So one of the things we always tell them is be aware of your surroundings. Don't put yourself into a situation in an area of town that may make you more susceptible to be a victim of a crime. Always travel with that friend. Always have your phone ready. Have your head on the swivel, so to speak. So a lot of the same things we tell our students on campus, we tell them off campus. But they're at a little bit more of a challenging environment because they don't have UK police patrolling. Lexington Police is stretched thin across the whole city, where we focus on a smaller area.
I think it's important, too, to point out that when we're talking about campus or when we're talking about Lexington, we are talking about generally very safe areas. Like campus, statistically safe. Lexington, statistically a very safe city, correct?
Lexington is a safe city. I mean, we have incidents just like any
Sure.
major city does. Campus itself, being right in the downtown area, it's going to have some issues, but relatively, we are a safe campus. And with that, we are seeing increases. Maybe one of the things people were concerned about was the increase in sexual assault reporting we had last year. But the reason for that is we broke down barriers that were up there that prevented people from reporting these type of interpersonal crimes. We established our SVU team, our partnership with VIP, where people now feel comfortable reporting these individual interpersonal crimes. That is going to send the numbers up some. But it also shows the need that we have to create more programs to help bystander intervention and these type of things. More education and programming around alcohol-related issues. So all that different stuff is part of a culture here at the university.
How does UK Police approach situations? And I know this is something that is very much in the spotlight these days. Situations involving mental health concerns or students who are in crisis in that regard, or faculty and staff.
Mental health is a big challenge right now, and I feel like it's at a crisis point in this country. And with mental health issues, it's something we have to take and handle. So with us, we see students in crisis. We have a plan that we can take them either to a medical facility or we can take them to the counseling center. So we work very closely with all those partners and student success team to make sure that we are getting the student the resources they need.
A few students have mentioned that they'd like to see more officers around campus events. How does the department decide where and when to have a presence?
Yeah, so the event type is a big determining factor. The size of it, If you look different rallies that we've had in the last year or 2 years, and you look at different games, of course, games are going to be different. But you have protests, you have smaller events, controversial speakers. We have stepped up our game, so to speak, on that. This was before the Charlie Kirk shooting. Even after the Charlie Kirk shooting, now we have changed a lot more things and added different protective measures that people will start seeing.
What is one simple thing that every student can do today to be more Wildcat ready?
I think a couple of things. To be Wildcat ready, one of the things you need to do is download the Safe Zone app. Second thing is look at your surroundings. Have that situational awareness of what's going on. Try to, at all costs, not to go to areas that may make you more susceptible to a crime. And then the last thing is, don't ever be afraid to contact UK police, even if it's for a question. We encourage our students and staff and faculty, even our visitors, to contact us. It may not be a police matter, but we'll get you to the person that can maybe answer that for you.
Real quickly, because I know we're running low on time, for parents and families, I know you've probably had countless conversations over the years. What is something that you say to reassure parents about UK's approach to safety on campus?
Well, probably one of the things is, as a parent of college students myself, I know what they're feeling. And so I can go one-on-one with them from a parent standpoint, but then I can also play the university leadership position as well. And so what I like to tell them is, I don't have 4 kids or 6 kids. I have almost 40,000 kids that I have to take care of now.
How do you measure success in campus safety? Like, what does a safe and ready campus, what does that look like to you?
Well, as much as I would like to have that utopia of zero crime, we know it's never going to happen. But violent crime is the thing that I focus on, is making sure that we are keeping that number as low as possible. One of the things we really focus on is, those what we call Part 1 crimes, the robberies, the sexual assaults, the homicides, those type of things. That is where we focus, because those are the most serious things. So if I'm going to measure how we are for success, it's one, keeping those numbers low, but also seeing our students feel safe enough that they're returning back to campus. They're getting their education and graduating, and then sending their kids back to UK. So I think that's the whole collaborative effort of having a team at the university focused on promoting safety and education.
Chief, I want to thank you for your time. Last question. What is one message that you'd like every Wildcat to take away from our conversation today?
That you're part of the university family, and we protect our family, whether it's education or safety. And with that, if I'm saying one thing is, be aware of your surroundings. Don't hesitate to contact UK police.
Excellent. Chief Joe Monroe, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to Behind the Blue. Behind the Blue is a joint production of the University of Kentucky and UK Healthcare. For more stories about UK and UK Healthcare, visit uknow.uky.edu.